this video, I want to actually, talk about my fears. I think growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, you just have a natural fear of life. I am afraid of everything and everyone and every experience. I'm just always afraid. I think it started back when I was younger, right? And so I was born in the 80s, and I remember specifically reading the Revelation book, and I had to be under 5. And that book is is the scariest book ever for a child under 5 to read. I mean, I remember specifically the pictures of Jezebel, in the tower, and then her falling to her death, and her with the purple eye. Like, I remember it clearly, the purple eyeshadow and wearing the bangles, and the mascara, the deep black mascara, and her hair pulled up, and she had brown hair, and she had this grimace on her face, and all the jewelry that she was wearing, and she was just like laughing, like like that is what I imagine that picture was, and how it spoke to me. That picture is still implanted in my brain. Or like the wild beast with the seven, or I don't remember, don't quote me, but with the 7 heads, and then it's like a cheetah, and it has all these different heads on it, and I'm like, I remember those pictures vividly. Or the down the great dragon was hurled in the Revelations, and they depicted pictures of that. And they would brag about how talented the artists were, and Bethel, and how those pictures were made by the witnesses, but they were nightmares. They were nightmares for me, and I would literally have nightmares about those pictures. And to this day, if I look at some of those images from the Revelation book, I just get chills, because that was something that I was really afraid of as a child when we were studying that book at the book study. Another unnatural fear that I have is, because we're constantly being fed that the world is going to end. And I just, there's things that happen, like natural disasters, that really, really stress me out. I think when it was 1997, so I had to be like 7 or 8, and my aunt took me to see Twister. Now, back then there weren't tornadoes in on the East Coast, right? Tornadoes didn't happen. With the recent hurricane, there were a bunch of tornadoes in my old town, but back then, like, tornadoes did not happen in the Northeast. So when I went to go see the movie Twister, and the first opening scene, the first 5 minutes, where the man gets sucked out of his little basement that they had, and the Twister took him away, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly how it's gonna be when Jehovah's Day comes. And I just remember just being so deathly afraid watching that movie. And every time it thunderstormed, they probably my mom should and my mom should have never took me to see that movie. But every time a storm would come, I would just go and run in the bathroom and hide in the tub, because I watch a lot of National Geographic shows about what to do in a storm, and they said the best place to hide is like in a bathroom where there's no window. So I would just go and sit in the tub, and I'm like, the tub is heavy, it's gonna hold me down. And then my family will just, be continuing their life, cooking or watching TV or whatever. And I'm the only one in the bathroom hiding in the tub, because I think the world is going to end. And I would try to, this is me, 7, 8, 9, trying to drag my mom into the bathroom. And at the time I lived with my grandfather, try to drag my grandfather in the bathroom, saying like, the world is ending. Why aren't you guys in here? Don't you hear the thunder? The tornado's going to come. Jehovah's going to take us. And it's the last days. And they're just like looking at me like it's fine, like it's just a thunderstorm. But they didn't understand, like, I'm going to the hall and I'm listening that the world is going to end. And every time there was a gust of wind outside, or the sky that got dark, I was ready to hide in the closet. It was really extreme for me. I remember going to the assembly, and I in a couple of my videos I talk about this crazy sister that my mom was best friends with. But I remember she drove me and my mom to the assembly along with her two other sons, and we were sitting in the car. We were driving to the convention specifically, and it was in the city. And we were driving, and I was looking out the window, and I was like, Mom, the birds, they're eating a hot dog. I've never seen birds eat hot dogs before. Aren't they supposed to eat seeds or berries? And she's like, oh, the crazy sister said to me and my mom, oh, they're preparing for Jehovah's feast. They're going to come, and they're preparing their stomachs so that when Jehovah's great day comes and all the worldly people die because they're not servants of Jehovah, they're preparing their bellies to take in meat so that they can eat the flesh of the wicked people. And I'm like, what? That's supposed to happen? She said, yeah, the birds of the heaven are going to come and they're going to eat the flesh of the wicked people. And I'm like, and then I started developing a fear for birds because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want the birds to eat my flesh. Like, and not knowing that some birds just have a natural diet of meat. I'm thinking, and them being not educated, just having a more education and just about the natural environments. Like chickens eat mice and stuff. It's normal for birds to eat meat, but they fed this ideal to me that the birds were eating meat because the world was about to end and Jehovah's are preparing their stomach. It's just like insanity. When you grow up and you really critically think, and you think about what was fed to you and what people said to you, was like, wow, this is insanity. This is, how did I ever believe that? And then I was watching critical thinkers videos about, you know, 9/11, and I remember that specifically as well. I was in middle school, and I remember the power going out, and then the power came back on, and then I remember the teachers running back and forth through the hallway, and then they're coming and whispering to the other teacher. And so we're like 11 or 12, so we weren't at an age where they would turn the TV on for us. But then I just remember parents coming to pick up their kids, and then eventually my mom came and got me somewhere, but right before lunch, and going home and watching the footage of the towers hitting the buildings, and how just naturally that event was traumatic, for someone that's 11 or 12 to watch that, and that being so close to where I actually live, because I lived maybe an hour and a half from New York City. So, that was scary for me. I had family that worked in DC, so watching that and experience that trauma on top of the idea that when I go to the hall the following day, or I think, did they cancel our meeting? I think they probably canceled our meeting, but to go to the hall that following week, and them telling us, these are the signs of the times and the world is going to end, and it's just like, oh my gosh, people need to get back to hall. And I remember, people coming back to the hall, and, them going to the hall for a little bit, and then they eventually stop. But then when you think about it, you know, bad things happen all the time. Bad things happen all over the world, all the time, every day. Someone dies, something traumatic happens, but does that mean that the world is necessarily ending? I think when things are hit close to home, so when 9/11 happened, that was close to home. I felt like the world was ending for everyone, but did the people that lived on the other side of the world, did they feel the same? Even though they're fine, you know what I mean? I think about those tsunamis in Japan, and them being afraid that the world was going to end in those Japanese congregations, right? But at home, I'm fine, and I don't have that same level of fear because I'm not experiencing that. The people in the area are not experiencing that. Think about just things being a part of history, World War I, World War II, slavery. These were terrible situations that could be examples of the world ending, and the world never ended, and even with this pandemic, and me expressing to my mom that I don't want to be a witness anymore, and trying to explain to her. I remember, this was maybe a month or two ago when I had this conversation with her. I'm like, Mom, you know I do not believe in this religion anymore. And she's saying, well, you know, it's the pandemic is going on, and these are the last days, and there's no other time that's worse than this time. And I said, Mom, if you believe there's no other time worse than this time, and we're truly living in the last days, would you like to live in the past? Is there a time in the past where there was peace, where you would be safe, and you wouldn't have to deal with the stuff you're dealing with now? Can you pick a time in the past that you yourself would want to live in? Think about 100 years ago. Think about 200 years ago. If you are African American and you're living in the United States, thinking about just going back 200 years from now is just like a nightmare. You don't want to go back in the past because the past was worse than the present. There's a show, what is it called? Time Machine, or I have to think about the name, but basically, there was a time machine that took people back to the past, and they had one scientist who was African American, and he was like, well, I'm not going back to the past. Y'all guys can go.
You need to go with them. I can't. I am Black. There's literally no place in American history that'll be awesome for me.
And it was funny because they did the plot of the story based upon him having a Black experience in the United States versus the other two white co-workers who had a little bit more privilege. And to bring that all home is that there's no time period in the past where it was better than now. Think about the technology we have. Think about the medication that we have. It was only maybe 100 years ago where they couldn't even figure out how to treat pneumonia, how to treat tuberculosis, how to treat just natural ailments that we can just go to the doctors right now and get a pill. But somehow that time is better than the time that we're living in now. And when you really break that down and really think about it, the theory that we're living in the last days and the world is about to end because we're seeing pangs of distress and people are calling out peace and security. I mean, when did people ever stop calling out peace and security? There's always a nation that grows big, and there's always a nation that falls. It happens. History repeats itself. It's the same cyclical cycle. The only thing different between now and in the past is the amount of technology that we have. That's the only thing that separates from the past. And honestly, I'd rather live in this time than a time that was 100 years ago or 200 years ago or 400 years ago. But those the unnatural fear that the Kingdom Hall puts into you, it really can mess with you. And another fear that I have too is just making friends, meeting people. I joke with people, and when I make new friends, I'm like, oh, don't kidnap me. But I'm like, am I serious when I say that to people? And you know what? I am constantly worried about someone attacking me, or somebody raping me, or somebody kidnapping me outside of the organization. But honestly, they're really good people. They may, have tattoos or smoke or whatever, or, live with their girlfriend or their boyfriend, or maybe gay or transgender. But like, I mean, it doesn't mean they're bad people, and I just have this unnatural fear of people and experiences. And I I just have this fear of people, and I need to, I even with me being a worldly witness and still associating with my um non-witness family members, I'm still afraid of people, you know? I'm not sure if anyone shares that same feeling, but I'm terribly afraid of people. But I'm working towards it, and that's probably something I'm probably going to need to talk to a therapist about, and how to untangle my brain with this idea that if you're not serving Jehovah, or if you're not a Jehovah's Witness, or even, reading the Bible. I found myself, when I decided not to be a witness, hanging out with church people because, they felt safe to me because they read their Bible. But sometimes church people got just as much drama as the people in the Kingdom Hall. So that's not, it just sucks you into one religion into the next. So I need to work on just, you know, trusting people, but still not be naive, because I feel like I'm a little naive with certain situations and certain life experiences, because I've only been a Jehovah's Witness, and not really, I don't really understand certain conversations and, certain experiences, or because I only know one way of life, and that's just being a Jehovah's Witness. And another fear that I have is celebrating holidays. Like, I can't celebrate Christmas. I will never celebrate Halloween. I just know myself. I probably will never do that. But just celebrating holidays, I can't make myself do it. In fact, I said, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to celebrate my birthday, because I never really understood the birthday doctrine. So I was like, all right, I've never celebrated my birthday at all. So this year, I'm going to celebrate my birthday. And guess what happened? I catch COVID for the second time. On the day of my birthday, I got sick. I went and got tested, found out I had COVID on my birthday. And you know what I chopped that up to being? Jehovah doesn't want me to celebrate birthdays. Jehovah doesn't want me to do this, and I'm still locked within that mindset. I haven't been to the Kingdom Hall since 2018, and the one time I try to celebrate my birthday, I get sick. Thankfully I'm okay. I was only sick for, a couple of weeks. I didn't need to go to the hospital or anything like that. But, I don't know what that's going to do to me next year when I would want to celebrate my birthday again. I'm probably not going to do that because, again, I'm just afraid of everything. So, I don't have a solution in this video. I'm still trying to figure that out. But, it would be cool if maybe you can comment down below and share other fears with me. What are you afraid to do? I'm basically afraid to live life. But if I'm not alone with this thought pattern of being afraid to do stuff, afraid to celebrate birthdays, afraid of birds, afraid of afraid of storms. If I'm not alone with this, please share your thoughts below. Your comments do make me feel better. So anyway, on to the next video.